This Republican-led House is an unmitigated disaster. I would say it's a clown show, but that would be a disservice to actual working clowns. They're acting like spoiled, rotten children who got what they want and still can't take yes for an answer. But they own all of this now. And if anyone needs more proof than that, look no further than the sponsor of this resolution, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a MAGA extremist who amplifies Holocaust deniers, who said 9/11 was a hoax, who says wildfires are started by Jewish space lasers. That's the legislative and intellectual force behind this impeachment resolution. In fact, if it passes, she's going to be an impeachment manager on the floor of the United States Senate. God help us. It's just more proof that this is fraudulent, unconstitutional garbage. But Donald Trump wants another fraudulent impeachment, another distraction from his own legal troubles, another excuse to kill a bipartisan border deal instead of working across the aisle to get something done.
Will the gentlelady yield for a question?
No, I will not yield to one of your stupid questions that are always attacking me and attacking President Trump.
How about a mediocre question?
No, I don't want it. I do not want
an
your
excellent question.
No.
A smart question.
No, my time.
An intelligent question.
You have no smart or intelligent questions.
My colleague once tried to talk about the safety of D.C. When she literally supported an insurrection, an attack on the Capitol, visited the prisoners. I was there as one of 2 Democrats there as part of that visit on behalf of this committee, and seeing her high-five folks that want to overthrow our government. So quite ridiculous.
I'm not a doctor, but I have a PhD in recognizing bull when I hear it. I'd like to point out to everyone that we knew early on, as a matter of fact, everyone knew early on, that the people that were at risk of hospitalization and dying of COVID were those that were obese, had diabetes, were over the age of 65. We also knew that children were at no risk, practically zero risk of being hospitalized or deaths from COVID-19. We knew that young people, healthy young people, were not at risk. However, Dr. Marks, you rushed through this process of authorizing these vaccines, even though you knew the side effects, you knew about myocarditis, and you knew about the studies. So let's be very real about the situation that we have. It's time to be honest about the vaccine injured, and we need to stop allowing these COVID-19 vaccines to be given out to children.
Gentlelady's time has expired.
It's really unfortunate that we're actually here having this hearing trying to poke holes and cause more vaccine hesitancy amongst the public. But we know that we're here because committee members on this committee have demanded that we have this hearing, and we continue to cave and give those members everything that they want. The fact that we are now having parents that are choosing to vaccinate their kids less than before because of all of the attacks on vaccinations is shameful, and it's shameful that members of Congress continue to put down vaccinations as an opportunity to get our communities healthier.
Madam Speaker, I rise in strong support of HRES 863, impeaching Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. My Democrat colleagues argue that one cannot be impeached over policy differences. Well, I argue that breaking our laws is more than just policy differences. 300 dead Americans every day from fentanyl poisoning is more than just a policy difference. It's murder. He has violated his oath of office and breached the public trust by willfully refusing to ensure the laws passed by Congress and signed into law by the President are faithfully executed as required by Article 2 of the Constitution. He has allowed over 10 million illegal border crossers to invade our country, approximately 2 million of whom are known gotaways. These are people who have completely evaded U.S. authorities and are roaming the interior of the American communities, assaulting, raping, and murdering Americans. And God help us if we have a terrorist attack on our land.
The Trump-Putin mega faction, headed up by the distinguished gentlelady from Georgia, has been given this worthless trinket of a consolation prize, the opportunity to bring a slapstick impeachment drive against a cabinet member of unimpeachable integrity who has obviously committed no treason, no bribery, no high crimes, no misdemeanors, nothing indictable or even indictable, if you prefer. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Chairman, we're here because the madcap wild goose chase to impeach Joe Biden has produced no wild geese. Even Fox News is lampooning the fact that their own expert witnesses repeatedly say President Biden did nothing wrong and there are no grounds for impeachment. More than a dozen GOP members in Biden majority districts don't want to go anywhere near that fantasy production. What makes this farce a tragedy is that Secretary Mayorkas and the U.S. Senate have been working for months to achieve precisely the immigration and border compromise the GOP has been demanding. And miraculously, they got to a bipartisan immigration agreement for billions of dollars more in Border Patrol officers, immigration judges, fentanyl detection machines, a far tougher border. It was good enough for Senator Mitch McConnell and dozens of GOP senators, and it was good enough for the Wall Street Journal, but the House MAGAs would not take yes for an answer. Why? Because Donald Trump doesn't want a border solution. He wants a border problem, nothing else to run on. And Vladimir Putin certainly doesn't want $60 billion going to the heroic people of Ukraine, defying his filthy imperialist invasion. All over the world, democracy and freedom are under siege today, and all our colleagues can think to do is to sell out our Democratic allies and sell out the cause of human rights, and then impeach a cabinet secretary working diligently to solve the immigration problem that they claim to care about. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry you all had to go through that. That was a lot of conspiracy theories and wild accusations, which we know have been debunked by medical science. And we should be clear that vaccines work and save lives, and they have millions of lives in this country. Now, we also know that we have a member of this committee that just actually made some comments, who's been on social media demanding that we hold this exact same hearing. This is the same person that we know that has, on countless posts, has spread misinformation, encouraged parents to refuse routine vaccinations for their children, which you just heard, by the way, and even compared our pandemic efforts responses to the Holocaust. I want to just actually read something which is in the public record. I'm not saying anything that's not in the public record. That a member of this committee actually said, the same person that is actually attacking vaccines, said that vaccinated employees get a vaccination logo, just like the Nazis forced Jewish people to wear a gold star. I want to read that again. Vaccinated employees get a vaccination logo, just like the Nazis forced Jewish people to wear a gold star. That is the level of insanity and attacks that we are having here as we actually debate the lives saved around vaccinations. Now, this same member has also held shadow public hearings promoting ideas that COVID is a bioweapon to target people of specific races and that vaccines, and I quote, cause turbo cancers. I want to read you this quote, and it's again in the public record at a hearing. Have the COVID vaccines resulted in an increase in cancers, and are turbo cancers real? Now, Mr. Chairman, this is, in my opinion, just insanity. We know that's not the case. Dr. Marks, can you clarify once again for the American people, do the COVID vaccines cause turbo cancers?
I'm a oncologist that's board certified. I don't know what a turbo cancer is. It was a term that was used first in a paper in mouse experiments describing an inflammatory response. We have not detected any increase in cancers with the COVID-19 vaccines.
Thank you, and I thank you for correcting the record.
May I just add something here? I do need to apologize to the 1,000 or so parents of children who are under 4 years of age who have died of COVID-19 who were unvaccinated because there were deaths and are continuing to be deaths in children, and that is the reason why they need to get vaccinated. Thank you.
And I agree with you 100%. Dr. Marks, I want to thank you for the work that you did. My mom passed away to COVID-19. My stepfather passed away due to COVID-19. Both would have taken that vaccination in an instant if it was available to them. And so anytime that folks, especially folks on this subcommittee on the pandemic attack vaccines, it's personally insulting to all the families that have actually lost loved ones. We've saved millions of lives because of the vaccine. And it's unfortunate we keep causing this harm.
I would like to express in the strongest words possible that I support the police, and we should be supporting the police here in our nation's capital, because it's our nation's capital that has one of the highest murder rates in our country, one of the worst crime records in our nation's history, and is an absolute embarrassment to our country. This is an ongoing crime epidemic here in our nation's capital, and it's appalling. We should be supporting police officers, not attacking Americans' gun rights, while all of us walk around under the protection of good guys with guns. Capitol Police carry those AR-15s and guard all of us, but yet Democrats would love to take away the gun rights of American citizens and blame guns that never get up by themselves and shoot people. Murder is already a crime. People kill people, and they don't just kill them with guns. They kill them with knives. They kill them with fists. They kill them with objects. They strangle them. But yet I just listened to one of my colleagues say that we need to disarm Americans in order to somehow stop crime in Washington, D.C. We should
Will the gentlelady yield?
No, I will not. We should be protecting and supporting police officers. I also heard President Trump come under attack once again because Democrats have nothing else to say to defend their own policies but attack President Trump. I'd like to remind everyone that it was Antifa, BLM, by the way, supported by Democrats. BLM as an organization raised millions and millions of dollars on Act Blue, the Democrat fundraising site. And then BLM riots across America that were endorsed heavily by Democrats and apologized and said mostly peaceful protest by media who are totally defending Democrats constantly. These riots caused $2 billion in damage across America. I'd also like to remind everyone that in 2017, when President Trump was inaugurated, that rioters nearly burned down Washington, D.C. That's right, nearly burned down the city here. But oh, we've got to attack President Trump every single day. And I would urge my colleagues to pay attention very carefully. The American people are paying attention, and they're not stupid. Just because you have a little microphone you can talk in doesn't mean that you can sit here and lie to the American people every single day. They can read the crime statistics. We all know you can't walk around this city without being in danger of being robbed or carjacked or murdered maybe. My goodness, how horrible is that? So let's support our police officers. Let's vote for good things to help citizens in this city. And Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Will the gentlelady yield for a question?
No, I will not yield to one of your stupid questions that are always attacking me and attacking President Trump.
How about a mediocre question?
No, I don't want it. I do not want
an
your
excellent question.
No.
A smart question.
No, my time.
An intelligent question.
You have no smart or intelligent questions.
Chair now recognizes Mr. Garcia for 5 minutes.
Thank you. That was a lot. I want to remind the gentlelady that it was her that actually organized a trip to the D.C. jail to hug and high-five and sit with the insurrectionists that actually attacked our Capitol. So if we're talking about the safety of D.C. and the Capitol, it's just quite, I think, ironic. This is all facts. This is quite ironic that the insurrectionists that tried to overthrow our government in the capital city were being coddled. We're actually being coddled by. It's quite a shame that you call them political prisoners or hostages. I think maybe you called them. They actually try to overthrow our government. Let me continue with my time.
She's not recognized.
Thank you. So I think it's quite interesting that my colleague trying to talk about the safety of D.C. When she literally supported an insurrection and attack on the Capitol. And if she's so interested in fixing Washington, D.C., maybe she should run for mayor of D.C. It's what she seems to be interested in. She's obsessed with everything going on. I just want to remind folks that D.C. and the district has a mayor They have a city council. They're trying to pass regulations. They're trying to work. There's definitely challenges. They're working very hard on those. And overall, let's remember that crime all across the country has actually decreased over the last couple of years. It has not increased. It's decreased. And with that, I yield back.
This impeachment resolution was supposed to be our second rule of the day. We had an emergency meeting last week in the Rules Committee about fixing SALT. Everybody hurry up. It's an emergency. Better do it right away so we can vote quickly. And then, get this, then last night, a change was made to pull their emergency bill from the schedule. It was such an emergency that Republicans decided it's not an emergency at all. So not only did their bill not even fix the problem that they themselves created, it's not even going to come to the floor now because of their inability to govern. This majority is so incompetent, they couldn't even manufacture a fake vote to pretend New York Republicans are good at legislating. We wasted hours last Thursday at the Rules Committee debating a rule that's now been pulled from consideration. And for what? Mr. Speaker, impeachment is one of the most solemn, serious, somber things that we can do in this body. It's not something that ought to get thrown around lightly or invoked when you disagree with someone, or you don't like their policies, or you think they're doing a bad job. It's something that should happen after a grave constitutional offense has been committed, a crime against the Republic. The founders in Article 1 reserve it only for treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. And so today, I'm very confused because our Republican colleagues have presented zero evidence for impeachment. This could be the first time in American history an impeachment will go to the floor of the United States House of Representatives with no evidence, no proof, no elements of a crime, nothing at all. And you don't have to take my word for it. Listen to the lead Republican for immigration policy, our colleague Tom McClintock. And he says, and I quote, "The problem is the articles fail to identify an impeachable crime that Mayorkas has committed. In effect, they stretch and distort the Constitution in order to hold the administration accountable," end quote. Another Republican, Ken Buck, says, and I quote, "Secretary Mayorkas did not commit an impeachable offense and is not guilty of high crimes or misdemeanors," end quote. These are not my words. These are your fellow colleagues, Mr. Speaker, openly admitting that these vague, unprecedented articles of impeachment trivialize this process and make a total mockery of this institution. And what does this impeachment have to do with fixing our challenges at the border? Nothing at all.